Nature, in all of its perfection, has utilized 16 naturally occurring elements for all living organisms to survive. These elements are known as essential elements, while the rest of the elements utilized for survival may be required in only trace amounts. Every organism is deeply connected to not only the environment around it but to the other species gracing that particular habitat, and even the functioning of the entire planet. Truly, we are all one, and science proves this truth over and over again. Some factors, however, may exert considerably more influence than others. This concept led to the law of minimum by Justus Liebig. Liebig discovered that the growth of plants in a certain environment depends on the factor that is required in trace quantity and not on the one utilized in large quantities. This discovery came to be known as Liebig's law of minimum. If even the tiniest trace elements are absent, life could be constrained. Truly, nothing is insignificant in nature. Liebig's theory is often mentioned along with Blackman's law of limiting factors. Blackman identified the 5 factors that operate at limiting levels and determine the rate of photosynthesis, namely amount of sunlight, water, carbon dioxide, amount of chlorophyll, and temperature of chloroplast. All environmental factors in nature operate along a wide and beautiful range of intensity. These factors include temperature, carbon dioxide, humidity, sunlight, etc. However, every organism has a unique range of tolerance for any particular factor, so there will be a lower limit and an upper limit of tolerance, beyond which the organism would not be able to survive within that particular habitat. Within this range of tolerance for any particular factor, the organism will have a lower threshold limit or the lower limit of tolerance. If, say, the temperature increases or the amount of carbon dioxide increases above this threshold, the functioning of the organism slowly increases up to a certain limit. Then the organism's functioning will begin to decrease as these factors continue increasing until it reaches a point beyond which the organism cannot tolerate any more increase. At this point, the organism experiences decreasing physiological activity until it reaches a lethal level. The entire set of abiotic conditions such as temperature, sunlight, and carbon dioxide in an environment under which an organism can survive is the range of tolerance. The realization that factors can be limiting at their minimum and maximum level led to the development of law of tolerance formulated by V. E. Shelford. Between the lower and upper threshold limits lies a broad region called zone of compatibility, zone of tolerance, zone of kinetics, or the zone of capacity adaptation. Beyond the upper and lower limits lies the lethal zone of intolerance. Within the broad zone of compatibility, there are regions of physiological stress on either side nearing the zone of intolerance. Organisms feel uncomfortable when the environmental factors near this zone of physiological stress and try to get away from the situation. When the environmental factors approach the zone of intolerance, only a few of the most fit organisms can survive. However, nature does not always operate based on set zone of tolerance. For example, the polar bear hibernates when the temperature falls below the normal threshold level, where the metabolic activity are reduced to bare minimum. Likewise, if temperature rises above the threshold level, some animals undertake aestivation or summer sleep. In general, a population tends to clump together in the zone of compatibility, beyond which only few sturdy individuals can thrive in the zone of physiological stress. Every being has a right to exist in its natural climate, free of pollutions and the devastating impact of global warming. Only when we feel the pain of the suffering life forms everywhere will we be inspired to act in a way that benefits nature, instead of Honoring the understanding that all creatures require conditions they have adapted to will help us to expand our understanding that we influence nature and will help us feel a responsibility to care for it.